So we had this big story last time about Ozzy. There seems to be another story. There's always stories about Ozzy. No, we love Ozzy. But we have recently talked about Ozzy on the podcast that they do, and how, you know, he would like to do some big final shows. I think it was you, Eamon, who mentioned this, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. And I'm so excited by this story. Like, unreally, like... So, we're on the verge of Sharon Osbourne's come out and said that Ozzy wants to do 2 final shows at Villa Park in Birmingham. Ace. He's going to bring a load of friends with him. It's going to be some point in summer this year, apparently. And you know what? I'm all for someone wheeling him out on a stretcher and him squealing Crazy Train one more time. I'm all for it.
Me too.
Like, have someone with puppet strings or something. Like, I'm all for it. Like, I'd be all for it.
I'll say it again. I don't care about being controversial, but is it Ozzy that wants to play these shows, or is it Sharon that wants him to play these shows? Does she want a new, like, diamond necklace or something?
I don't know. When you listen to Ozzy speak, he's genuinely gutted. He's genuinely so sad he's not got out on his own terms. Don't get me wrong. Sharon might be pushing him to do the big ones, but
how many times has I'm not just talking about Sabbath, but Ozzy as a solo artist said that that's it? How many times can an artist say, these are my farewell shows?
Yeah, well, there's it in it.
There's a quote here from Sharon. This is her speaking in November last year, 2023. It's true, Ozzy won't tour again. Definitely he won't. It's terrible for him because it's hard to let something that you lived for go, and no matter what, over anything, the greatest love of his life is his fans and performing. He lives for performing. It's like his oxygen has been cut from him. I mean, we know that it matters a lot to Ozzy, but obviously it matters a lot to Sharon too.
Yeah, I mean, and you can see it with Ozzy. Like, you have done for years. Like, he's not been in a good condition for decades now. Let's be honest. And you can see he'll stagger onto the stage, but you can see the first like chord that opens when that riff hits, when the crowd cheers. You can see something switch in him.
Yeah,
and he's a different person. Like, he's not that person that's trapped in his sofa. Like, he's different, and he just switches, and that rock star thing comes out, and it just takes away all his ailments, and he just somehow, even if he's holding himself up with a fucking mic stand, like, he just somehow does it. And I'll always be an Ozzy fan. Always. Can't help it.
He's the OG, isn't he? He's, you know, it's.
I was about to say, he's literally the OG, yeah.
He's a put on my. Got to support him.
Have you, Morgan? Have you seen Ozzy live, or have you ever seen Sabbath?
So I was at the 2 downloads where it was Sabbath's final download,
really,
and Ozzy's final download.
No way.
So I kind of got to see both finales, so to speak.
Wow.
Like, the oxygen tank break got a bit longer, but the second time round.
Yeah.
But you do kind of tolerate it, don't you? Because, you know, he's literally Prince Darkness, you know, one of the first metalheads ever. You kind of do tolerate it a little bit, don't you? So
of course you do, because it's Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, how often do you get the chance to see him at Download? I mean, I don't know how many times he played Monsters of Rock, but it was probably a lot. In fact, yeah, I was going to say, Eamon, you probably know, don't you?
I don't know the exact number, but he played the first Download, for instance. Well, he played. Oh, it was Ozfest before Download.
Of course it was.
Right, so
yeah, before Download, it was Ozfest.
Yeah.
So I forget things like that. But yeah,
he's played a whole bunch, and he's had a couple of final Download shows there. But, and I admit, I didn't watch the last Ozzy show, and I'm a bit gutted I didn't, because it was one of those moments. I've done it several times in my life where I'm like, oh, I'll just see him again. Like, I did it with Linkin Park. Done it with Ozzy, and which is why I'm kind of like, I wanted to do one more, because then I can just sign off and say it's the final time. But also, he should probably just do what's good for his health, because he's not in a good way, is he? Like, in all seriousness, can he actually go? Because he did that thing, was it at the Olympics or wherever he did it? I can't remember what he performed at.
It was in LA, wasn't it? Is it baseball?
Yeah, it was something where he like
something like that, wasn't it? Yeah.
Or was it the Commonwealth Games where he got wheeled out? He's done a couple of things, anyway, and there was a lot of backing tracks and a lot of like meandering around, and it wasn't great. But
yeah, he's not the same as he was. I mean, you know, he's in advanced age. He's certainly a grandparent age. And if you were to imagine your own grandparents, if you're still lucky enough to have your grandparents, and you imagine them on a stage, it's not going to be the same as it was in their prime.
No. There'd be a certain brown trail following them behind.
I think you're right. You can't deny that.
Yeah.
So I think to expect anything from Ozzy is a bit much. And I know he wants to do it, but I wouldn't encourage it.
Yeah, if he wants to and he can, I'm for it, but...
For me, it comes back to what I've said before: is he's paid his dues to the scene.
Yeah.
He is the godfather of heavy metal, or one of them at least. And you know, he deserves a break. He deserves to not be getting nagged by Sharon at home. He deserves to not be getting dragged across the world on a jet to come and play 2 shows at Villa Park. But you know, if he does, fair play to him, and I'm sure he will do his absolute all to put on the best show that he can possibly put on, and I wish him well. I won't be buying tickets to it. I too have seen Sabbath's final show and also Ozzy's final show, and I won't be seeing another one. Not for me.
And as much as I love Ozzy, I have to say, they weren't great performances, those final shows.
No.
Don't worry, I'll review it for us, guys.
You're supposed to be behaving now, Shorty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I just remember back in 2016 being on the top of that hill, with watching the reaction of people around me to Ozzy on stage, and it wasn't great. And I don't like saying bad things about him. I don't like saying he wasn't great, because you want to think of him being great, and because he was so great. But then you see him do a performance like that, and you just think, okay, let's finish it now.
It ruins it for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It ruins it for you.
He was still better than Axl Rose.
Now, there's a performance I didn't stick around for. I did not see him.
No, I didn't stay that year. We didn't bother.
No, I think, yeah.
We went to neck deep in the tent and went, okay, that's done.
Yeah.
I think I caught Paradise City on the hill and went, okay, yeah, cool. I can tick it off my list. I've seen it.
Exactly.
Right, that'll do.
Yeah.
He warmed up 6 hours.
Same with Sabbath, to be fair. It was one of those that, yes, I've seen him at the end of his career, but I can say I've seen Sabbath. Same with Slayer as well. When they played, I didn't watch Tool because I wasn't that bothered. I went to go watch Slayer instead, just to kind of tick it off the list, really.
Yeah.
Like, all these kind of iconic bands, they are getting to that point
Yeah.
where they can't, you can't go on forever. That kind of stuff it takes a toll on your body. You're traveling, say you're traveling everywhere, especially in a band that size. There does come a time where your body will go, no.
Yeah.
So it's kind of tick them off while you can, I think, really. So